Hello and welcome to the weekly outlook. The calendar's actually quite light next week. We've got Greek parliamentary elections on Sunday, but I'm not expecting that to affect currency too much. We've got Paulos speaking for the Canadian dollar on Monday. This is probably going to be the first one which actually has an effect on the calendar. And we'll just have a quick look at the US dollar Canadian because we were looking for that pullback, which was initiated by the FOMC being quite dovish um, in their meeting on Thursday, and we had a drop down, then a pullback here, and then it did continue to fall on the breakthrough at the pivot point, which we traded last week, and then pulled back up to previous announcement prices and beyond. So quite interesting reaction there from the Canadian dollar, purely because oil did take a fall as well. It has at the moment just started to form a pin bar from this previous low price on oil, so that may be worth a look at as well next week. We'll see how that develops. But the currencies that I'm going to be looking at are really sort of more technical setups than they are fundamental next week. The Canadian dollar is probably the only one, and we're going to wait to see what Paulos speaks. If he comes out with fairly hawkish comments, and we could see this drop back down again, but I'll wait to see what happens on Monday throughout the day, because the announcement's not until the evening. But I'd like to see it reject the 13300 level again. That would be quite nice if it rejected that and we got right in at the best possible price. But then we'll see what Paulos says and trades it from there. As far as the calendar goes, we've got manufacturing PMI on the euro. And we've got ECB President Draghi speaks on Wednesday. Now the euro's already had quite a fall. We did trade this down last week. It rejected that 1145 area, which we estimated in the analysis last week, and it has had quite a drop from there. Dropped all the way down to 11270 and has pulled back, showing signs of resistance at the 113 area. So there could be an opportunity to resell this early in the week. It would be nice to see a pull back up to this sort of area confluence and this area of previous resistance here round about the 113. So that will be the sort of price that we'll be looking to resell the euro next week. No particular early on the Monday. We may just get a drift up there, and then by the time Mario Draghi speaks, we expect him to announce that further QE is required. And then we hopefully should get this drop back down to this price, which we've been waiting for some time. And even further, a little bit lower down to the 111 area, which has been showing as quite strong support as well. So that's the euro. Next week, when that happens, it could just be technical, and it could be instigated by ECB Draghi speaking. The other one that I've gotten interested in is the New Zealand dollar. The New Zealand dollar has had a significant pullback. If we take this down to the 4-hour chart there for a moment, you can see we've had quite a pullback on the New Zealand dollar, which is probably the weakest currency at the moment, still in a rate cutting cycle. So I could be looking to sell this as soon as market open on Sunday evening. Hopefully we just get in around about the 6-4 area. So this is, again, we've pulled back to this area of previous resistance, and now we should make a further head down, and we are looking for the overall price of 6,000 there. You can see my previous analysis, it had from where we're looking at the target. Okay, so New Zealand dollar, US dollar, as the week goes on, we've got trade balance coming out on the New Zealand dollar, which is expected to come in at more of a deficit than previous on Wednesday evening, so that could be the catalyst for that one. Okay, US dollar core durable goods is due out on Thursday, which is expected to be slightly softer figures. And final GDP quarter on quarter on Friday, which is supposed to be in line with expectations. So we could see a little bit of weakness in the US dollar, which would maybe give us an opportunity to jump back into this pound next week. At the moment, we're at 155. We were waiting for the breakthrough of the 155 area to take buy positions, and we've had a run up to 15650 and now started to pull back. So a buy off the 15 area would be an opportunity here on the pound. So let's just have a look. There isn't any data really due out on the pound next week, which could cause a little bit of sort of lackluster volatility. But if we can get in round about that price, I would expect that to hold as support. Even if we are consolidated for a few days, we should hopefully drift back up to at least the 15650, and then in the midterm up to 158. Okay, so again, there's nothing really to give us a catalyst for that, except maybe the weakness in the US dollar through on Thursday. Okay, so technicals, moving over to some of the other charts. We've got some of the other cross-currency pairs. The pound New Zealand dollar is one of interest at the moment. We've got this channel forming here. You can see on this channel we had the bounce off of this price here, and it's moved up to this previous high here, made a slightly lower high, but also a bit of a double top. So there's one, there's a technical situation here for both the breakout to the downside and also for the continuation of the uptrend. Now the fundamentals suggest that obviously the pound is much stronger than New Zealand dollar, so I would tend to go with the break with the bounce back up to the upside and to the top of the channel there. Okay, but what we need to be aware of is it could spike through that trend line down to this neckline of the double bottom before it makes that bounce back up to the top there. So I wouldn't try and get in too early, and also I wouldn't be fooled by the fake breakout of the trend line here down to the S2 level. It could move down to the S2 level before it starts to change and bounce back up. So be aware of that. But I am looking for this to be an overall direction of bullish next week. Okay, so there's the pound New Zealand dollar there. There's the pound US dollars, the euro US dollar, Australian dollar. I'm not too keen on next week. We're a little bit sort of indecisive with the decision there. We've had a breakout of the daily trend line. Really, this should move back up now to the weekly trend line. It's had a breakout. It broke through this area of resistance here, but it did start to pull back. So I'll probably just stay out of that until we get some more details coming through from the RBA. They are expected to make a rate cut due to the slowdown in China, but we'll just keep an eye on the news and wait to see what happens there and what information we get across. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I hope you can make some pips.